There we go. All right. Welcome, everyone. Those of you who have joined us so far to the to our first quarterly meeting of the BACCC partnership for this academic year. Thank you so much. I'm Olivia Hereford, and I am well, though I'm no longer regional director for ICT digital media, the BACCC can't get rid of me yet. I am doing special projects and still have a role in a facilitation of this partnership, which I'm really, really glad to still be involved in because about a year ago, and maybe actually it was a year ago, we started talking about blue collar AI. And we're really proud and happy to finally get some action going in that direction with a very special initiative we have going on in collaboration with Laney College called the AIDA project, the AI Data Analytics Initiative. And really, really got some great things going on there, and you're going to hear about that later. But again, this stems from a partnership meeting that we had about a year and a half ago, talking about blue collar AI. So what we want to do, by the way, and as you come in, if you would please put your name and title and affiliation in chat. That's our means of doing introductions. And as I often recommend to when I'm doing our tech talks with our students, you see anybody in there that you haven't seen for a while or you don't know, check in or connect via LinkedIn and stay in touch. So what we want to do today, one of the most important things that we get out of these meetings with our partners is feedback on our main objective in what we do with it here at the BACC, BACCC, is how do we connect our students with entry-level jobs? And so in this particular project, we're really looking at data analytics roles, or those blue-collar AI roles, as entry-level to artificial intelligence jobs in that industry. So today we're going to look at what are some of the entry-level jobs in data analytics, and then explore how we can attract and prepare Bay Area community colleges for these jobs. Oh, I keep losing my ability to move forward here with my sensitive.
Slideshow mode, top right.
Yeah. Okay, but then I lose. I don't like going full screen. So anyway, so what we had planned today for the agenda is we were going to kick it off with a presentation by Anwar McQueen on Team, which is a really incredible program that provides exposure to data analytics to students through sports and other related programs. It's really pretty exciting. And Anwar, as soon as he joins us, we'll have him give a quick overview of this. But we wanted to, we are exploring a team and their programs as the potential equity and outreach component of this project. It's just a real passion to me. I think that everything that we do related to our career education programs should and must have an equity component. And I really think once you hear about Team, you can see that that's a possibility. And hopefully, if there is some interest, we'll continue to explore it. So hopefully we'll hear from Anwar today. And then what we did was we looked back on the LMI that we'd done for the project to identify entry-level jobs in data analytics, as well as looked at some data that had been prepared for other programs in the state. And really pretty much seeing some of the same things, and we'll talk about that later. We'd like to get your input on that. We also have some other really good information from an NSF project that has developed and described KSIs for data analytics that we can share with you, and we'd like to get your input on. And then Ray's going to give us a update on the project itself, what's going on, what we have going ahead of us, and then we're going to look to you, our industry, our employers and partners, and also, our BACCC partners on input on how we can make sure this project is successful. Okay. Okay.
NEA, a couple other companies.
Oh, so,
Yeah.
so NEA. That's awesome.
Let's mute. There we go. Okay. All right. We're gonna skip. We'll come back to team when Anwar joins us. So one of the things that we talked about, if those of you were around when we were talking about blue collar AI, Aaron Burciaga introduced that term to us. Data farmers, people who create the data, people who mine the data, and people who present the data are the welders. And so basically data, blue collar AI is inspecting, cleansing, transforming, modeling data with the goal of discovering useful information, informing conclusions, and to support this decision making. So here's what we found just recently in looking at the data that we had pulled together before for the AIDA project. The jobs in data analytics are, data analyst, data engineer, business systems analyst, and IT analyst. Now these come from our Center of Excellence LMI reports that the most recent reports were done for LA Orange County area last April. And we really weren't seeing much difference from what the LMI that we pulled last year. Over the past 12 months, the COE in looking at burning glass data, and this is nationwide, there were, almost 13,000 related job postings. So there's definitely a demand out there. And the top skills that they're asking for are SQL, data analysis, Python, project management. The top tool cited is Tableau, and business processes, systems analysts, and business systems. So one of the things that we'd like to have you take a look at, and Lauren, if you could put that link to the KPIs in the chat so that people could actually pull the full description up. But one of the things that we've done at least for the last 3 years that I've been working within this sector with the BACCC partnership is we have worked with an NSF center. In fact, one of the last NSF ATE centers focused on ICT because they go through a really, really detailed process. They're based out of Collins College in Texas. Many of you may know Ann Behaler and her team of leaders that work on developing KPIs for specific skills, and we have used their work to develop and provide input to our programs in cybersecurity and most recently cloud. And so their center now has a project and continuing to develop skills standards, and they recently have published this report on the skills required for data analytics and predictive modeling. Very, very detailed report. And I find it looks like it may be very, very helpful in creating entry-level programs, because if you noticed on the report, almost every skill description starts with assist with. So we're knowing that these students are coming in as entry level, and they're going to be working with more senior people and supporting, people that have been doing this for a while. But these are skills that would be expected of an entry level person coming into data analytics. Now, they categorize these KPIs in these 7 categories, lumping them under business problem framing, analytics problem solving, data, and this is around just all of the machinations and management of the data, the methodology chosen to frame the problem or solve the problem, and then the model building, deployment, actually implementing it, and then how do you keep the model the life cycle of the model? How do you manage the life cycle of the model to keep it pertinent? So, I'm going really fast here because I'm really conscious that we only have an hour. But one of the things that we really would like to do is have you get your thoughts on which of these is most important. If when our programs are preparing our students for the job, are they really focused on maybe just how they help with the data and preparing the data? Or is there more possibilities for our students breaking into these jobs if they take a business problem approach to it? In other words, if they're more about business intelligence and understanding how these tools are applied there. So because this is an awful lot to try to get into a program. And so it would really be really good input from you all on how you would prioritize these. So we've put together a poll, but before we bring up the poll, I'm just wondering if there's any questions, any discussions, your thoughts around, which of each of, even in back to the whole blue collar AI categories, what would our programs do best with? Creating the data, mining the data, presenting the data, all of it. So anyway, we're wanting to get some feedback from you all, and would welcome some discussion before we bring up the poll.
I just saw Gabriel's comment in the chat there about not seeing Python except in data analysis positions.
I'm looking for an article, and for some reason there's no link on the right.
Okay, so we're not seeing the link to the. Were we able to get the link to the? I'll bring it up. Is this what you're saying you can't see?
That last entry in the chat.
Yeah. So this is the link to the document that I'm now sharing with you. And these are the categories. So for example, under business problem framing, assist in obtaining or receiving problem statements and usability requirements. Assist in identifying stakeholders. Again, this is a whole business problem aspect of it. Assist in determining if the problem is amenable to an analytic solution.
Yeah, so it's a lot of tiny font here.
Yeah, it's a lot of, that's why we're asking for, at a very high level, categorizing these KPIs and we'd like to get some input on how we would prioritize them if starting to introduce them into new programs or update or enhance existing programs.
I think given the
about Gabriel's comment, Gabriel, what do you mean? Have you've only seen Python in data analysis positions?
No, I mean, I was just saying that mostly for well, I mean, I think the list that she presented was really good as far as the tool sets. I was just saying that I guess somebody was commenting on R and other programming languages, but I've seen mostly in data analysis in those job positions and those employers that they're looking for Python specifically, and they want specific Python libraries sometimes too.
Yeah,
but Python is definitely the language of choice.
And on this, figuring out how to prioritize these, don't worry about going down to the subheadings within each. It's really how to prioritize these 7 categories of things at this point, and then we'll get in the weeds in a different way.
And I want to point out there that Gabriel, that is also what we're seeing in Burning Class, is that in data analytics, Python is the language most cited as a requirement.
Well, this is Darlene here, and I don't know how much I can contribute to this conversation. I feel like it's a little up there, but for me, but I do know that from a user perspective and working at the county here, what I see a need for is in the area, the data and the model building section. I have actually reached out to and talked to different ones about sort of the systems that we have and what would be useful. So that's what I can contribute there, just helping to identify the data, acquire the data, and then how to structure that data in a usable way so that we can help people in their training and career pathways.
And Myra had said Excel would be required. I would say yes to that also. In my experience in the corporate world with this content, this topic, and of course it crosses over, from the IT space in quite a few different areas in IT space, people that end up doing this type of work. But Excel for sure.
Yeah, and this.
I think I've seen Excel in the details in that longer list that we had up earlier. I think Excel is
Okay, good. Yeah, I can't imagine why that's like a foundational skill.
Yeah. So this is Myra. I just want to also chime in here. I think that a lot of weight is put on, the data and the methodology, but I think one of the number one problems that we've heard from customers and from, just in our research is that being able to define what is the problem and being able to frame that problem and the problem you're going to solve first is really important, instead of just diving into what's the data you're going to collect and what's the methodology. If you don't know what the problem is that you're trying to solve for, I think then they become order takers, right? And it's just relying on someone else to tell them this is the problem without allowing them to frame it. So I think that that's a core skill that someone at an entry level can bring, is being able to have that analytical perspective to identifying is it what type of problem is it? What are we trying to solve for? And then from there being able to select what's the best methodology for this? Is it a machine learning problem? Is it an AI problem? Is it just a straight data problem? And then being able to decide what to collect from there based on metrics and KPIs. So.
Yeah, I see lots of heads nodding. And in that regard, that, as you have your top 7 here, business problem framing, analytic problem solving, that business problem framing also comes from the other jobs where these folks come from. And that is those customer skills that allow you to listen and then, feed back. What I hear you're saying is the problem is this. No, that's not the problem. Okay, well, because a lot of times the technologist says, well, the business didn't frame the problem, but you have to help them frame it.
So Terry, what you're pointing out is some exposure to actually even prior to data. This is basically working with customers, internal and external. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Olivia, this is Tony. I don't know if you can hear me. There's a little bit of background noise. Hope everybody's doing well. I'm actually here at the Plug and Play Tech Summit in Silicon Valley, and I was sitting in the Enterprise 2.0 portion of that. I shared an image that I couldn't put on a chat, Olivia, with you. I'm not sure if you can share it, but basically I was thinking about the trajectory of this entire problem. When you guys talking about data, there was a lot of companies trying to solve this. And one of the things I wanted to share is that if you look at the trends that we've seen, 20, 30 years ago, initially was the idea of collecting data. It was the age of databases. So we did all that stuff, right? And it was skill sets. We talked about SQL and all that kind of stuff, is collecting, hoarding data, structured and all that kind of stuff. Well, that was great. Then fast forward, we start seeing analytics and reporting, OLAP cubings and things like that. And that was good. And then that was all historical. Skill sets were going from there to do OLAP cubing and visualization and analytics. And that was all good. And then it led into the machine learning, which you guys were talking about, and then from there to the AI to go to do projection. What I saw today in that diagram that you see the, the projection, and sorry, I cannot send it in the chat, but I did send it to you, Olivia, if you want to share that. You'll see that the next trend that is coming in as we kind of trying to solve the problems for today, which is a big enough with a big talent gap that exists, is the intersection of obviously data skill sets, but also the trend that is happening is about data orchestration, right? So that's where everybody's going, is the fact that we have all this data, we want to share the data, we have compliance problems, you have CCPA, you have all these different things, GDPRs, and a lot of companies trying to solve that. So there's a lot of skill sets about the intersection of AI, data, business, the why, as we're talking about, but actually they need to understand the, how do they bring in the other facet, which is privacy and security into that fold, because without it, you will not be able to share that data set. And there's no data orchestration if you cannot solve for that. So in this conversation, you can see that trend happening right now. And that's the other side of what you guys are working on. And I think these things are merging together now based on the demand that exists. So some other skill set is, I hear this area called PET, which is privacy enhanced technology, which is the idea of, well, there's so many different ways from homomorphic encryption and zero knowledge proofing and all this kind of stuff. And I thought this was actually very relevant, and it was very serendipitous that I was here in anticipation of this. So I wanted to share that with you as we kind of add this curriculum. It's not just those skill sets of collecting data and all that important, right? The tools that we do, but what is happening is these different domains are merging together. So AI and data analytics cannot live separate from privacy and security anymore, right? As the trend is data orchestration. So I'm not sure from the curriculum, how do folks that go into data analytics and AI can be successful without understanding privacy, compliance, and security, right? So as you talk to that, those skill sets going to be integral to their success, and being able to at least have a working knowledge of what these trends are. And I just wanted to share that as you guys kind of solve today's problem with the talent gap that we have, but also be able to prep for this pivot, this inflection point that is happening in the market. So I just shared that with you, Olivia. I hope that can be some sort of value added as you guys further refine the skill sets required for the market dynamics.
Yeah, that's great. Hey, I'll let Anwar in.
Yeah, and you know what, Tony, thank you for bringing that up, because I tell you, security is ubiquitous now. And, maybe when we start to look at, as part of the requirements for what we're looking at here, is part of the business problem framing, maybe it's part of data, maybe it's deployment. But yeah, you're right, we really need to, and I'll have to go back and take a look at that detailed list of KPIs. And I got to know that if the IT skills standard group put this together, they've got security in there someplace. I know they do. I have to go back and take a look at that. So anyway, this discussion is leading to a poll. We would like you to prioritize this, but Anwar has joined us. Ray, should we, have Anwar do his?
Yeah. Let's just switch over to that since he's here, if he's ready.
Okay. All right, great. All right, Anwar. Welcome. You're muted.
Can you guys hear me?
Now we can hear you.
Awesome. Okay.
Great.
Thank you for this opportunity. I'm almost ready to get the slides going and we can get going. All right, here we go. All right, I'll share my screen and take it from there.
Great.
All right, can we see my desktop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Okay. We'll start off with a short video and then we'll dive right into it.
Team technology exposure and access through mentoring. Just it's like a bridge between sports and technology. I found team through my mom, just her recommending different programs for me, especially programs based in Oakland. And because it has to do with sports, and I've always been a basketball player and coding, which was something I'm trying to get into. The program was over 14 weeks, I'd say, and we go in there and we all get a computer. They teach us different elements of the program, the sports code. Such as like today, we're going to work on making codes or making labels or making instances. And we learn a little bit each week and work off of what we learned the last week. It was a doorway to what I really want to do in my career. So it set a good foundation for me. Coming into this, before I started team, I had no idea what I wanted to do. So this kind of saved me. Yeah.
Okay, that was a little video context for the audience. So I'm Anwar McQueen with Team. We're a 501c3 nonprofit, and we use our platform to expose youth to technology, career pathways at the intersections of technology and sports. We really take a high dive in being innovative and really compassionate in our approach to equity, diversity, and youth internships. The problem that usually confronts students that we tend to focus on from our communities is that they want to play in some of these professional leagues as physical athletes. They want to be the Steph Currys, they want to be the LeBron James. But we found the way to connect with youth from our communities to show them a different appeal to that. They really can work in some of these back-end jobs that present themselves at the professional level, but even more closer to them in high school and in college as a career pathway or starting that journey, if you will. So the solution for us is that I created this organization Team where I wanted to broker access. So I wanted to be a community advocate that could get students or populations from our demographic access to these career opportunities, again, at the intersection of technology and sports. Quick background on myself. I'm a former student athlete, played locally at Cal Berkeley, played professionally over in Europe, and then I worked for a sports technology company where I sold this specific sports platform to all the NBA teams and the English Premier teams across the pond. So I had a nice network in place to start this kind of access of getting students access to this platform, training, mentoring them, and usher them into these opportunities. How do we do this? We offer this in a core program. It's a 12-week program where it's project-based and students really learn fundamental skills of coding, logic around sports, more importantly, critical thinking. We put them based on their projects to collect data for sports teams, to develop these foundation skills, to do programming, to translate the data, and to develop visual presentation skills. Why is that important? This industry is booming for analysts or job or career pathways outside of the playing field. So it's $1 billion industry. We want youth from our communities to have a head start and a direct pathway to those opportunities. One of our flagship programs for our youth is our NBA Summer League program. We take youth from Oakland or around the country for that matter, and we take an NBA Summer League in Las Vegas, Nevada, where they get to work side by side with all 30 NBA teams and WNBA teams at NBA Summer League. So I wanted to showcase the funnel. So how do we make this happen? We usually start in workshops or community boot camps. But again, our core program is where the magic happens. So upon successful completion of our core program, students can earn an industry certification, or they can have academic accreditation for that to be a UC A-to-G credit, for college admissions. And most importantly, they have direct access to our extensive network around mentoring, networking, and job placement. So to brag a little bit, what we are proposing is not experimental. This is the proof in the pudding. These are celebrated alumnus that have come through our program who now work in professional sports or college athletics at these various positions. So we've had young people from our program come through our program, successfully completed. They're currently head coaches in the NBA, general managers, director of scouting, director of analytics. Those are the folks that youth that come through our program now get direct access, get one-on-one conversations to really get started and get that mentoring along that career pathway. And thank you for the time to present to you guys.
Thank you, Anwar. Any questions? And one of the things that I've been wanting to do is to get this program in front of our AIDA project team, and so they are here, Anwar. And I was wondering if any of you have any questions for Anwar. We have a few more minutes of his time.
Hi all, this is Angel from Laney College. I do not have any questions about it. I just wanted to say that this is a wonderful program, and we'd love to give it a chance at Laney when the time comes, when we have some data analytics structure in place already next year. We would love to participate or at least partner with the program, because it's great. I don't know what else to say about it, but it sounds like an amazing opportunity for so many students, especially the students in the community here in Oakland.
Right. Yeah, it really looked like a very good opportunity to link it up with some of the ideas that we have about blue collar AI, and also it's the outreach part. In other words, if we can make that connection with those, have a collaboration where some of those students now are then on the pathway into some of our other programs, where if they want to pursue, college credit, and as Anwar mentioned, take advantage of what they've learned at team to go forward with their education. So Anwar, thank you very much, and really glad that we got you in here. And you're welcome to stick around to hear the rest of the discussion about what we're looking at right now is entry-level jobs, the type similar to what you're talking about here. So please feel free to stick around for the rest of the conversation. But thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, I love this approach. I love this approach, and my mind's going a million miles an hour. But can you imagine doing something similar for everybody who took biology because they liked it, thinks they're going to be a doctor?
Right.
And they're not,
Yes.
very few of them become a doctor, but there's so much to do in healthcare that doesn't involve being a doctor, that are great careers. And I think that contextualization of the skills and knowledge is absolutely critical. I applaud you, Anwar, for what you've done there.
Anwar,
Yeah,
my name's Maya, and I work with Ray and Olivia. Like, are there some typical areas you find your students, you have to catch them up on before, are there like very typical gaps in their requirements that you find that you spend time getting them ready for the program?
Yeah, and my answer is very ironic. A lot of the gaps in knowledge is around sports, which I tend to work with some assumptions that literally students know what a made 2-point field goal to made 3-point field goals. We had to really slow down and really, have a lesson plan around the rules of sports, whether it's basketball, Formula One racing, soccer, etc., just to level set stuff. But then I think it's such a aha moment for students to see that they have access to the magic behind the scenes. And so when they do projects and they collect all the data on the Warriors team, and we get to take the students to the Warriors facility and they get to interact with the coaches and players, I just think that's the gateway to like a lot of possibilities. And so like Olivia mentioned, of course we want them to land paid internships or jobs in this space. But I think we do a good job of laying that foundation of all the possibilities in the sports industry or in business for that matter. So they really have some takeaways of what it means to collect data. How do you have the the foundation skills to write program or code translate that data or filter that data, and how do you present it to the stakeholders? And so we really focus on that framework, and so far so good in what we've been able to do so far.
Well, thank you so much. I'm really glad that you were able to join us. Thank you again.
And I will stick around. I want to hear more about this. So thank you guys again.
Great. All right, so we'll go back to our categories of skills and key performance indicators for our programs, and these, well, I did say for key performance indicators for entry-level jobs. So we have a poll that we would like to do to have you rank these 7 areas, so that, just to give us an idea of, where we might place our focus. So I'm going to launch the poll, and it's going to ask you all to match each of these 7 with what you think is the number 1 most important area, number 2, number 3, etc. So if we could take a few minutes for you all to, do that matching for us. This is our way of ranking it using the capabilities of Zoom that we could figure out. But I think it's going to work.
Yeah, if you mouse over one of those lines A through G, a pop-up comes that lets you give it a value of 1 through 7. So that's the way that works. There's all ones. It's all important. That's somebody who says it's all very incredibly important. We're trying to get some.
And it's color coded too, in other words. So number 1 is going to be blue. Number 2.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Give it a few more minutes. Got 4 responses so far. Yeah, Tony, thanks for bringing up that whole idea of data security. I mean, the whole risk is always data, isn't it? And so it would seem that would be a really, really important aspect of at least framing the problem, deployment, modeling. I mean, it seems like it's going to show up everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could share, or I will send you those screenshots I took, but I can kind of talk to it, and I will send them to your email so you can share with the team. But basically, let me just read it. I took that. So they talk about that projection, but really it's an intersection that I think you're talking about 3 of them, and it's basically the data science part, it's a data collaboration, and the data privacy and confidentiality, and that's basically the Venn diagram that they have. In the middle of it is what they call PET. It's a new category, right? It's called privacy enhanced technology. And within that, there's many different ways. So you talk about synthetic data, encryption in use, trusted execution environments, differential privacy, and federated learning, right? So those are some of the categories that they're talking about. And there's this new category, and there are a lot of technologies, a lot of startups trying to solve this whole PET. And it's the type of PET that you get, based on your business is different. So that's kind of what I see the trend is happening now. I mean, all the skills that you guys talked about, that's great. But for folks coming out, they have to have a working knowledge of how these 2, doctrines now are kind of meshing together from a data science aspect of it, the data collaboration aspect of it. But the enabler is also, how am I gonna share data? Everybody wants to share data now, right? But then there's a lot of people telling you, well, you can't share that where you are. You can't share it because of GDPR, CCPA, PCI, HIPAA, high trust, whatever that is. So there's gonna be, the technology has to step up in their skill sets that they need to understand the concept of privacy and security. And even within that, it's a challenging thought. I can tell you that I've been in cyber for way too many years, but a lot of people don't understand just the relationship between privacy and security. And people think that because they have security, they have privacy, or they think they can have privacy without security. And the reality and the kicker, I guess, is that people need to understand you cannot have privacy without security, but just because you have security, you should not assume privacy. I'll give you an example. It's called Facebook. You can have the most secure laptop, most secure logon, zero trust, everything. But the moment you logged onto privacy, you should assume zero privacy, right? So it's not actually a hand in glove, it's actually orthogonal almost. And there's a lot of privacy technologies coming up to solve that problem, which is not an easy thing. We don't need them to become privacy experts or security experts, but at a minimum, they have to have understanding of how this relationship works. So out of the 7 that you have, they have to have a working knowledge of data privacy, security principles, and some sort of this new era of encryption that is happening, which means like data has to be able to be shared and in use without being open, right? I mean, you just look at all the different challenges that are happening right now.
Hey, Tony, let me jump in here because I saw a couple things in the chat. Let's see, Myra was talking about the need for ethics. Ethics isn't on that list either. It's woven through all of those things. And I guess what I'd ask is, for those things that you think are missed, just drop them in the chat. We record the chat, we go over the chat afterwards to analyze. And of course, you've got our contact information as well. I think there's an awful lot. We're in the very early stages of this. Yep. So we're really looking for the kind of feedback that you're giving us and appreciate it.
Olivia, mind if I share those screenshots with you and then you share with the team, because I cannot put it in the chat. And
you got 14 minutes left, Olivia.
Yeah, I think we want to, I'm closing the poll. I was just basically having the conversation while we had us give everybody a chance who wanted to respond to the poll. And then the other thing we have to do, Tony, is Ray is going to give once we get this poll done, Ray is going to give an overview of the project. And that's about as much time as we have left. But if you could please send me that information, and we will definitely include it in the report from the meeting. So anyway, these are results. And again, the color code here, it looks like business framing was really, I'm looking at the blue line there, the business problem framing was really, really high.
Not showing, Olivia.
Hmm?
Oh, you got to show the results here. Oh.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Do you see it now?
Yes.
So do you see the results now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right, good. All right. So you can see that business problem framing really came on top there. So we will share these results in a report, but this is really good input. Thank you so much. I think we want to give these last 10 minutes to Ray to go over the overview and then the ask that we have of you here going forward. So forward to that. Okay. Take it away, Ray.
Yeah, thanks, Olivia. I'm going to close some windows here. We started this project with funding from the Strong Workforce money in the community colleges. It's basically, the idea is that there is this emerging field of artificial intelligence, data analytics, machine learning that is exploding, and that there is work that is done in these fields that doesn't require a PhD, doesn't require a master's, may not even require a bachelor's degree. What we're doing is trying to put together a program, some model curriculum, and then share that with colleges in the Bay, other community colleges in the Bay Area. And I think I'm going to hand it over to Angel to talk about what's going on at Laney briefly. You still here, Angel?
Yes, I'm here.
Just an overview of the Laney component of this as a center of excellence.
Yeah, at Laney College, we're developing a couple of few certificates or degrees around these two fields. We've launched curriculum locally to go through the curriculum process now in both artificial intelligence, machine learning, and in data analytics. We should have them fully available for the fall 23 semester to have students basically graduate starting in the fall semester. though many students can start taking the classes next semester because many of the classes already exist that are part of those certificates or degrees. We are doing this in coordination with BACCC and with a few industry partners like AWS, Intel, Google, and others. And we're hoping to create model curriculum that can be shared around and used in other areas, in other colleges, especially colleges in the Bay Area, to continue to train these professionals on these very high-paying jobs. Let me know if you want me to say anything else.
Yeah, no, that's great, Angel. I think one of the interesting things of this is BACCC has actually licensed a complete 2-year curriculum that was developed at the community colleges in Arizona for artificial intelligence and machine learning. So we have access to all of the assets, lectures, assessments, everything that is used as curriculum in the Arizona community colleges. So we don't really have to invent it from scratch. And the way the license works, you can use any part of it that you want. So if you wanted, somebody mentioned ethics earlier, if you wanted to include an ethics unit in your introduction to computer science class, there's an ethics unit in there that you could just pop in. And there are actually schools that have incorporated the ethics unit into social sciences because there's an awful lot going on there and concerns about social justice and privacy and all those kinds of things. So, so I'm gonna drop this. Hang on a second. Copy, switch. I'll drop this in the chat. Oh, there it is. There's a full, and we haven't got near enough time to go over everything that's going on in this program, but that website is pretty comprehensive, and there are a lot of links on that website if you want to really get in the weeds. I'm not sure if we have it yet, but I know we're going to put the KSIs into the website so that people can see them from there. And what else should I say? Let me look at the rest of the bullets now on that.
While you look really quick, Ray, I was going to say that one of the things that we're doing in the website is putting a lot of the resources that we're creating. We'll be updating the website soon with the sequence of courses, with a pathway, if you want to call it, of all the courses that a student in, let's say, artificial intelligence would take from us. And yes, one of the courses is an ethics surrounding data management and artificial intelligence. And so there's many options, and we'll be posting all that there. And of course, our course outlines of record are public. And so we'll be able to share those as well.
And a big part of what we're trying to build here, we've got 10 colleges in the Bay Area that have expressed an interest in at least following along, and in some cases collaborating on the project. And so what we're doing is widely distributing. When we have professional development opportunities, we distribute that widely. So we have a community of practice of all the CIS and IT instructors in the Bay Area. It's just a group, like a list. It's a listserv. So we distribute information about this on that listserv. So if you see something, those of you who are faculty, if you see something from BACCC faculty, that's the email address, BACCC faculty, watch it, because there's some very cool stuff. As a matter of fact, Alteryx just posted a couple of days ago a free training session, actually 2 different free training sessions, one very short duration and one that's a full 3 days. To help faculty come up to speed on the tools that are used in data analytics, the technologies and such. So we'll make sure that we keep doing that, and I encourage you all to make sure that you didn't block as spam the BACCC faculty emails. And then where we're going now, we need to confirm these knowledge, skills, and abilities. We have this very detailed starting point, I would say, that Olivia shared a little bit earlier. We'll make sure that there's a link to that
Yeah, we'll add that to the AIDA site as well. That's brand new information that was
Yeah, it
just
just
developed
came.
this summer. So I think that would be something we really needed to get to the site. We'll get that there.
And I think we would encourage, welcome any feedback on those to the extent that you can dig into the weeds on it. It's incredibly helpful to have people in the industry and people who are trying to teach this, pitch in on what the important topics are. So we need to do that. And then we need to make sure that the programs teach to those. So we'll do a crosswalk between what's taught in the programs and what those KSAs end up being. And I would say for the employers and industry partners, we need your help. So we're talking about establishing a sub-advisory from the BACCC partnership, where some industry and employer partners, I don't know what the right number is, 3, 5, something like that, would form a sub-advisory to really pay attention to what the skills are that are needed by employers, by actual employers in the field. So appreciate anything anybody can do. We'll certainly be following up with everybody who attended this meeting and frankly, everybody who didn't. And I think I'm going to wrap it up there because I see just 4 minutes left and I don't want to be the last person talking.
Well, I think that was our last ask, and that was to invite those of you that could really help us out to be a part of that sub-advisory, to really take a deep dive into not only the KPIs that we shared today and the voting that we did, but for some of the insights that you can share, like Myra talking about ethics. And also, if you guys noticed that Myra posted that AWS Machine Learning University is offering a boot camp in January. We'll get that out there. But that is the benefit that we get from working with you all, getting that input, those opportunities for professional development. Tony sharing your insights about privacy and security. We really do need to take that into consideration in our development of our programs as well. So if what we would like to do, Ray, I think what we could probably do is when we follow up with the minutes or something, that we do our recruiting then. How would you like to go forward with our sub-advisory? And you're muted. There we go. Ray, you're muted.
Yeah. I was going to say, you probably ought to be the primary point of contact. Everybody's got your email and you've got everybody's email. So,
okay. All right.
And the other thing I would say is if you're looking at the AIDA page right now on the BACCC site, the BACCC site, if you hit refresh right now, you will see a link to that bunch of KSIs. We just added it while we were talking.
Way to go.
I'm not sure where it is. I didn't look, but somewhere on there.
Way to go, Lauren. Lauren is always incredible when it comes to getting this. But anyway, as you can see, this is the site in all the information that we want you to see. We're going to put it here and make sure that it's available to you. So again, thank you. Thank you again for joining today. We really appreciate the feedback, and